to 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing aim of committing a group of people. The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosu.
You're welcome, Celebration Television News Desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Here are the news making the headlines. Resident doctors defy federal government's no work, no pay. Reopen after technical failure. Naira exchanges for 509 dollar. Welcome back, and now the news in details. Cholera death toll now 816, and CDC says medical intervention not solution. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control said medical interventions will not stop the outbreak of cholera in the country. This is just as it put the current death toll at 816. This was contained in a statement by the Center Director General entitled Cholera in Nigeria, urgent call for urgent call to strengthen water sanitation and hygiene. According to statement, the NCDC is working with other agencies and partners to ensure that the spread of the disease is adequately curtailed. Here, Kwezu explains that since cholera is a waterborne disease, the risk of transmission is higher when there is poor sanitation and disruption of clean water supply. He added that wrong disposal of refuse and practices such as open defecation endangers the safety of water used for drinking and personal use. Such situation, he explained, leads to the spread of waterborne diseases such as cholera. Moving forward, resident doctors defy federal government's no work, no pay threats and continues NAS talks today. Members of the National Association of Resident Doctors defied the directive by the federal government to resume their duty posts or face sanctions. Recall that the Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, had threatened the striking doctors with a no work, no pay policy. The national president of NAD, Uyilawa Kwatesui, in an interview with a correspondent, had disclosed that the association would not resume. A visit round selected hospitals in Abuja on Monday revealed that the resident doctors stuck to their guns. At the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, it was noticed that patients were left unattended to. The center spokesperson, Olomofe Kayode, in an interview with a correspondent, stated the medical consultants were overstretched. He said they have limited consultants, they are overstretched, and there is no way they can attend to all the patients. Similarly, a visit to the National Hospital Abuja also revealed that striking resident doctors refused to show up. In another development, quickly, APC folds Delta appointments of commissioners. The Delta chapter of the All Progressive Congress has chided the Delta government for appointing too many state commissioners in spite of scarce resources. The party said this in a statement by the State Publicity Secretary, Mr. Sylvester Imonina, in Asaba, describing the appointment as another circle of unpleasant wastage. According to Imonina, the party notes with concern the recent appointments of 4 state commissioners for education and 2 commissioners for works. Imonina says that the 4 commissioners for education are includes a commissioner for higher education, commissioner for technical education, commissioner for basic and secondary education, and commissioner for primary education. And coming from around Africa, Senegal Health Service is overwhelmed by COVID surge. Senegal's health services are overwhelmed as a 3rd wave of COVID-19 spreads throughout the country. Since the beginning of the pandemic, Senegal's national SAMU, the Emergency Pandemic Service, has been in charge of registering all COVID-19 cases and organizing the regulation of patients, emergency doctors, and treatment centers. Dr. Abdallah Wadei, head of the SAMU regulation, said they have had an influx of calls for respiratory distress. They had a few in the first wave, a few in the second wave, but since the beginning of the 3rd wave, 90% of the calls are for respiratory distress. Now there are fewer and fewer hospital beds, and SAMU's emergency doctors are rushed off their feet responding to the influx of suffering patients. The SAMU regulation team work around the clock and are helped by other emergency services such as firefighters. And still coming from around Africa, communities around Malawi's Lake Chiwa hit by abnormal low rainfall. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, warned that already greenhouse gas levels in the atmosphere are high to guarantee climate disruption for decades, if not centuries. This is already taking its toll on Malawi's 2nd largest lake, Lake Chiwa. Thousands of people in Malawi depend on the country's 2nd largest lake, Lake Chiwa, to make a living. Professor Sostin Chota, Regional Director of Leadership for Environment and Development, says that climate change has introduced extremity in weather, resulting in less rainfall and abnormally low water levels in the lake. According to Professor Sostin Chota, record shows that the lake has dried completely several times in the last 100 years. According to published literature, it was a cycle of 20 to 25 years from the 90s, and the frequency of the drying has increased, and this is connected to the impact of extreme weather events typical of climate change. 1.5 million people live in the areas on the Lake Chiwa Basin, which is one of the most densely populated areas in southern Africa. We'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you updates from the United Kingdom. Please don't go anywhere.
Johnson Suleiman. Miracles are what you cannot do, I cannot do, but God can do.
Mommy, she says she takes different drugs in a day and also she takes traditional recreational drugs during the ministration, that the pains that she used to feel all over her body, that right now there is no pain. Thank God you are here.
And what God did before, He can do again. It doesn't matter what you're going through. God is able to turn that challenge around for your good and give you a testimony.
Power! Power! Holy Ghost! Holy Ghost! Power!
I came next one at 17 women conference. Papa was very specific that those believing God for the fruit of the womb that they should come out. Actually then I was still breastfeeding my first child. I came out on behalf of my sisters. But when I left, I discovered my body system changed. Last year, exactly 9 months, that was in the month of May, I had this child here.
Join me for the International Women Conference. Our International Women Conference 2021. The date is 11th through 13th of August. And the theme of this meeting is God of Miracles.
I hear the Holy Ghost saying to me, that delay is over. That delay is over.
My husband, the Restoration Apostle Joseph Suleiman, will be ministering.
The best gift a mother can get is the spirit of discernment. Your EDD is between 25 and 26. What did doctor tell you? Whatever they are using did not pick the date of your pregnancy. Your pregnancy is 1 year. Your doctor is saying 9 months. I'm saying 1 year. It will be exactly 1 year in 4 days. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, deliver.
The date is the 11th through 13th of August.
The time, Wednesday 11th, 3 p.m. Thursday 12th, 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. and Friday 13th, 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. all night long. Happening at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, Kilometer 132, Benin Okene Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. For inquiries, please call.
It promises to be an amazing time in God's presence. You don't want to miss this.
Welcome back and many thanks for joining us. Now updates from United Kingdom. London's Tower Bridge reopens after technical failure. London's Tower Bridge has reopened to traffic after becoming stuck for almost 12 hours. The famous crossing was scheduled to lift on Monday to allow a large wooden toll ship through, but it appeared to become jammed in place. City of London police said the 120-year-old landmark was closed due to technical failure. Drivers and pedestrians had previously been warned to avoid the area. Approach roads to the bridge were shut while repairs were carried out. Transponders for London reported the traffic had been slow moving on both sides of the river during the afternoon. The bridge, which took 8 years to build and opened in 1894, normally opens about 800 times every year. It was previously jammed in August last year when a mechanical fault meant it remained lifted for more than an hour. More updates coming from Greece. Prime Minister apologizes as blazes rage on EVIA Island. Greece Prime Minister has apologized for failures in tackling the wildfires stirring across the country. Hundreds of firefighters had been battling huge blazes that have forced thousands of people to flee their homes and destroy dozens of properties. Thick smoke is still pouring off the island of EVIA, northeast of Athens, which has been ablaze for a week. Dozens of homes and acres of forest have already been scorched to the ground in EVIA, on the outskirts of the capital and other parts of Greece. Hundreds of residents have been ordered to leave the island to escape the fires, though some were determined to stay to defend their properties. Public anger has been growing at delays and breakdowns in the government's response, including an apparent lack of water-dropping plans. Fueled by strong winds and Greece's worst heat wave in decades, over 580 fires have broken out across the country since late July. The biggest is on EVIA, where 650 firefighters are still struggling to control the blaze. Now quickly, we'll go straight to business news. Naira exchanges for 509 at Parley Market. The Naira held steady against the dollar at the Parley Market on Monday at 509 Naira. The Naira held steady against the greenback at the Parley Market from the 509 Naira per dollar at which it closed on Friday. On the investors and exporters window, it opened at 411.35 Naira per dollar. It had a high of 412 Naira 90 kobo per dollar and a low of 400 Naira per dollar. The Naira closed at 411.50 Naira against the dollar on Monday. Dollar supply continues to increase. Forex turnover for the day was $166.06 million according to the FMDQ group. The Naira fell to 525 against the dollar at the Parley Market after the Central Bank of Nigeria stopped the supply of foreign exchange to Burundi change. Since then, however, it has continued to appreciate. The Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele had at the end of the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting announced the stoppage of forex sale to the BDCs, saying they had turned themselves into agents that facilitate graft and corrupt activities of people who seek illicit fund flow and money laundering. He added that the Central Bank of Nigeria will channel a significant portion of its weekly allocation currently meant for BDCs to commercial banks to meet legitimate forex demand for ordinary Nigerians and businesses. The Central Bank of Nigeria had also asked banks to set up dedicated forex teller points for customers. Commercial banks have since started to implement this. And still on business news, power failure and COVID-19 and others stole 88.76 billion naira oil production. Power failure, COVID-19 outbreak and production shut in at various crude oil terminals prevented the production of 3.31 million barrels of oil valued at 88.76 billion naira in 1 month. Updates on key setbacks that affected oil production in the month of March 2021 as posted by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation on its website on Monday showed that power failure alone stalled the production of 1 million barrels of oil. Further analysis of the report shows that a total of 500 vandalized pipeline points were recorded between March 2020 and March 2021. On crude oil losses, figures from the oil firm indicated that the Bonga terminal lost the highest volume of crude oil, 1 million barrels, followed by the Forcados terminal, 720,000 barrels. Industry figures on the price of Brent, the crude against which Nigeria's oil is priced, showed that the average cost of the commodity in March this year was $65.41 per barrel. NNPC's Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Kenny Obateru, said the oil firm was in collaboration with the local communities and other stakeholders on how to address the menace. He said the corporation and its partners had continuously strived to reduce and eventually eliminate pipeline vandalism and other acts that impact negatively on production. We'll go on a very short break. When we'll come back, we'll bring you sport news. I'm very sure you'll be interested in these. Stay with us.
ready.
August 7th to 29, that witch must die.
Command your day in the atmosphere of intense supplication. See your evidence. Carry your miracles in wonders without number against addition.
God told me that the theme of the whole 23-day prayer is that witch must die. We are going to be praying against witchcraft. You are going to see prayers from scriptures that will blow your mind. Witchcraft must end.
Wonders without number with Apostle Johnson Suleiman against addition. That which must die. Date 7 through 29 August 2021 by 5 a.m. GMT +1. You can connect live to Celebration TV, Sky Channel 598 and all our social media platforms for a transforming encounter. It's time to kill. Your time has come.
Welcome sports news. Roma and Chelsea reach agreement over Tammy Abraham. Roma have reached an agreement with Chelsea over Tammy Abraham, but will only wait until the end of the week to see if the Arsenal target is happy to make the move. With Edin Dzeko on his way to Inter, Roma wants to bring in a new striker and have zeroed in one Chelsea's Abraham. They have now managed to thrash out an agreement with Chelsea for the player, according to Sky Italia, which will see just €5 million paid immediately. Roma are now waiting to hear from Abraham about whether he's willing to make the switch to the Italian capital. Arsenal also want Abraham, and the striker prefers a switch to the Gunners, which will keep him in the capital, but they must sell Alexander Lacazette to sign him. Chelsea, however, would also prefer if Abraham went abroad in order that they do not strengthen league rivals. Roma are prepared to give Abraham time to decide over making the move, but will now wait beyond Thursday or Friday, after which time they would turn their attention to alternative targets. In another sports news quickly, ex-FIFA boss Blatter meets Swiss prosecutor in payment probe. Former World Football chief Sepp Blatter met with a Swiss prosecutor investigating suspected fraud surrounding a FIFA payment to Michel Platini as the long-running probe inches towards a conclusion. Former FIFA President Blatter is being investigated over a 2 million Swiss francs, which is equivalent to $2.2 million, and also equivalents of €1.85 million payment in 2011 to Platini, who was then in charge of European football's governing body UEFA. After the interview at the Federal Prosecutor's office in Zurich, the city where FIFA has its headquarters, Blatter said he would return on Tuesday to resume the final hearing in the investigation. Blatter, who was accompanied by his lawyer Lorenzo Eni, said he would spend the rest of the day resting and working. He smiled and waved that he was driven away. The hearing was a federal prosecutor. The hearing with the federal prosecutor from the Office of the Attorney General of Switzerland was postponed to August due to the retired Swiss football administrator's health. That has brought us to the end of the news on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you actually miss out, here's the news headlines recap. Resident doctors defies federal government's no work, no pay threats and continue NAS talks today. Senegal health services overwhelmed by COVID surge. London Store Bridge reopens after technical failure. Naira exchanges for 509 at Parley Market. Roma in Chelsea reach agreement over Tammy Abraham. Quickly, we have photo of the day. Photo of the day where you have a bold write-up, success, you have failures, obstacles, mistakes, and difficulties and all of that. All these are processes you pass through before you achieve success. In other words, success may be a short destination, but it's never a straight journey at all. You have to pass through the rigorous path of tests before you get to that successful end. You can drop your comment on our social media platforms. On Facebook, Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter, My Celebration TV, YouTube, Celebration TV. Always remember that your positive contribution to the wellness of a society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership mind. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed, has bagged his ways to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. Be a part of nation building today. Thank you once again for staying with us on our news desk. I remain Nicholas Akosile Walter. So bye for now.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing of committing aggressive.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State